Moderate hook ball. Walter Ray Williams Jr. struggled with his big hook earlier in the week, but has opted for the straight ball last night and made a huge charge into second place. Two of the hot players on tour and best in the world in the semifinal here.
Thus far, he's had 17, now make it 18 strikes as he shot first here in his third game today. Tim Criss, now Walter Ray Williams Jr. Oh, yes. 6'2", 180 pounds, 37 years old.
I tell you, crossing lanes. Now remember, there's 32 lanes in this house. Walter Ray, I believe, came up with the best technique late last night. He averaged 260 at one run with a down and in with some powerful lift. Just because you throw it straight doesn't mean you fudge it or kill it. He's letting that wrist rotate straight through the ball. Good lesson.
Three-time player of the year has left the two-pin on the left lane. Just a thin hit, leaving the two.
I'll be back for lunch.
Okay. Strike and a spare for Walter Ray. Now Tim Criss. Strike up shooting in the second frame. This is a semifinal game. Winner will meet Steve Jaros, Bolingbrook, Illinois.
Get up.
Another 10-pin. This is the 5th TV appearance for Tim. He has been consistent.
Tim Criss on the left side of the lane just doesn't get a handful. Not quite enough lift. Leaves the soft 10. You see the 6 lie down in the chip.
He's won $50,000 this year. And here's Bob.
Thank you, Chris. Bob, you had to be pretty happy with the game you bowled. You know, all week long, that type of game would win a lot of matches.
That's correct. They were tough all week. You need a couple breaks here and there to bowl a decent game. Unfortunately, I threw one bad shot. I left 3-7. The 7-10 I thought was a good shot, but obviously it wasn't. But those are the breaks. You had to get a couple breaks to bowl decent games this week, and if you didn't, anything could happen.
All right, good performance and good luck in the next tournament. Back to you, Chris.
Okay, now the corner pins, giving Tim Criss some problems here. Left a 10 and now a 7. 10 on the left lane. Just joined us. He won the first game, 266 to 201, Darren Hayes. Then 225 to Bob Belmont's 192. And then blows the 7-pin.
Chris, there's some stats that go with that in match play competition. First place, a pro only misses a single pin once every 10 games, so this is a rare exception for Chris. And number 2, when you miss a spare in match fading competition, you usually lose the game 2 out of 3 times. Come on.
Oh.
All right, good shot. Through it.
Walter just muscles the ball down there with a good solid lift, a ringing 10. Going a little more direct like he is, he may not carry as well as Chris, but he has a better chance of keeping the ball in play.
Sang clean, Walter Ray Williams Jr. 93rd television appearance, but the 65th in the 90s alone.
Paige Pennington, his wife.
We're in Central Florida, which is home of the 12 Hours of Sebring. Ah, yes, Highlands County royalty. So refreshing, so young and pretty. Tim Criss, 4th frame, trails by 11.
Again, I'll have to stick on 7.
Again, the 7 pin. Sebring, Florida. 12 hours. Sebring. Racing on ABC tomorrow. Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix. And May 25th, don't forget, 81st running of the Indy 500. May 25th. And don't forget the first Saturday in May. One of my favorites, Kentucky Derby. I think they're all my favorites. What am I saying? Having done them all, I've loved them.
Let's get into the single. How did you guys come up? How did this collab come about? So my neighbor happens to be Tommy Brown, who is a super producer.
Hold it, hold it.
Well, 3-6-10, Tim Criss.
The 3-6-10 Criss just gets inside his target. If you've been watching the telecast the last 45 minutes, he was going out to about the 5th board. He tugs it into the 7th board. He almost leaves the 3-6-7-10. And I'll tell you what, the 3-6-10 has been no gimme this week. It's kind of tough crossing the line.
So Walter Ray is up after Criss marks for that spare in the first. Walter Ray with a 14-pin lead, but has a strike up in the 4th.
I work in Bollywood in India, even though I'm not Indian, but I love to always incorporate Bollywood elements into my visuals. So he created Snake as me, and when the girls
Uh-oh.
Not what I want to do.
Come on. Again.
Come on. Can't do that. Come on.
He convinced me.
Walter Ray, with just too much speed, throws it through the break. He's only playing a minimum break of about 6 boards, but if he throws it too hard, he slides by. Once again, another tough spare. Not an easy spare, the 2-8.
That's it.
Okay. No?
Thank you, Chris. Steve Jarrell, are you kind of surprised by the scoring of Tim Criss in the first 2 matches, or have things settled down out there?
Really, I'm not. You know, right now we don't have the problem of having to cross pairs across the house. So, you know, we've had a little bit of time to practice on them, and really all week it's played out that when we made really good shots and scores were available. It's a tough condition, but it's definitely not unplayable.
Chris, he's our tournament leader as Walter Ray gets a break. Back to you.
Well, it was almost a lucky break.
Tripped everything
His lead
but
is
the
a
4-pin on the left point. Let's look at that again. Take a while to play it. All right, nice spare.
Spare number 6.
Tomorrow night on ABC, a completely new hour of America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by a brand new special edition of Turning Point from ABC News. Then, it's finally here. Television event Entertainment Weekly calls the most frightening movie ever made for television, a brand new version of Stephen King's The Shining. The Shining, starring Rebecca De Mornay and Steve Weber. Don't miss it. That's tomorrow night on ABC.
As the championship pair starts toughening up a little bit with the oil carry down as the players push the oil towards the strike zone, Tim Criss has made a few adjustments, and Walter Ray could have put him away early. He's given Criss new life, and right now with the strike in the 7th, the difference would only be 3 pins.
Nancy is caught lucky break gun with him.
Sherry Criss liking these moments here in Sebring. Ever hear the phrase, what you see is what you get? Or a telecast of bowling. This is our first visit to the Sebring area. Very impressed with it.
Chris, look at the oil streaks where Tim Criss is throwing the ball. Now Walter Ray is going to try to come straight inside there.
Come on, baby, come on.
7-10 again.
All right, decent shot.
Walter Ray just keeping keeping the ball in play, just doesn't quite get the finish. Another 10-pin. This is the way the whole week has panned out. Walter Ray leads in the match by 2 with a spare.
Let's see the pivotal match, the semifinal, right to meet the tournament leader, Steve Jaros.
No, I guess you got to move.
Walter quickly up with his strike ball, leads by 2 pins over the newly crowned champion in the flagship open, Tim Criss, 8th frame.
Come on.
Oh, no, that's...
Do I leave anything else besides 10 pins? Jeez.
But Walter, that's your easiest spare, bud, because he has good technique and good angles. Look at the angle, a cross lane. Look at the technique, a broken wrist shot.
Spinning right.
For the first time in the match, Tim Criss, with 1 more strike, can take the lead. 8th frame, he has 2 strikes working.
Tim Criss makes it.
April 5th, he won in Erie. His first national PBA event.
And this is one he'd really like to win. Chris, I can remember when you win 1, that can happen. That can be an aberration. But when you win 2, and especially get by maybe a player like Walter Ray Williams Jr. or Steve Jaros, you really have put your imprimatur on professional bowling. I am a player.
Come on, come back.
Another 10.
Another 10-pin on the left lane. Oh, this is fun.
This is good bowling action. Basically, as a pro, by the definition of being a pro bowler, your only goal of competition at pro level is victory. Score is secondary.
Okay, tomorrow, 2 Eastern, 1 Central, Pacific, defending champion and hometown favorite Michael Andretti races against the likes of defending pole sitter Paul Tracy and PPG points leader Scott Pruitt, 44 points, in the Bosch Spark Plug Grand Prix. Tomorrow, 3 Eastern, 1 Central, Pacific.
Tim Strickland.
Big A in the foundation frame.
Come on. Kind of a throwback strike right there, Chris. The old wall shot that Dick Weber used to get. You see the eyes, the concentration, and obviously the positive reaction of Walter Ray, who needs 2 strikes and 9 to lock up this game.
Give it a double now.
Finally got it up to the pocket. Too much.
Stuck 4-10.
Man.
Well, Walter, with 2 more strikes and 9, could have locked out Tim Criss, and right now he is trailing by 8 pins. With a spare and a strike, he would finish 196. Criss would just need any kind of good count and a spare to go on to meet Jaros for the title. But we've seen a lot of open frames in the final matches so far this year.
That's great.
Okay. Winner will go into that championship game. Steve Jaros. $196 for Walter Ray.
Well, when you need a mark, you go right for the pocket. There is no, I'm going to move a couple of boards left or I'm going to throw it harder. He knows how to throw a perfect shot on that lane. They are rewarded in this bowling center. He needs 1 good shot to lock up the match.
And Tim sends the ball.
Tim Criss will be in the final game here in Sebring. This ABC Sports
match.
presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages.